big welcome to everybody. Welcome to this webinar on creativity, problem solving and design thinking. Firstly, a big thank you for showing an interest in this course and taking the time to attend this online session. This webinar is all about you and how this course can help you enhance your career and amplify your skills. Today, we've gathered professionals interested in creativity and problem solving from all over the world. So thank you all for attending and welcome once again. Before we begin, I'd like to go over a few items so you know how to participate in today's event. This webinar is being recorded and you will receive a link to the recording in a follow-up email. You have all joined in listen-only mode. However, you do have the opportunity to submit questions by typing into the Q&A pane on the control panel. You may send in your questions at any time during the presentation. We will collect these and address them during the Q&A session at the end of today's presentation. Should you experience any technical difficulties, please do let us know in the Q&A box and a member of the team will endeavor to help you. In the unlikely event we experience any issues, we'll send out a message and restart the webinar. The presentation today should last around a total of 45 minutes with questions answered at the end if you have submitted any. At the end of the webinar today, also, please do take a couple of moments to complete a short survey where you can raise any further questions or feedback. So we would like you to leave here today informed, excited, and with complete insight into what your learning experience will be. So these are our agenda points. We will firstly introduce you to the course, then provide an overview of the content and structure, let you know a little about how this course can contribute to you and your career, explore the learning experience, hear some of the feedback from some of our past participants. We will then have the opportunity to answer any of your questions and discuss potential next steps. So the University of Cambridge Online. So what makes us different? Well, to begin with, all courses are developed and led by University of Cambridge academics. They are quality assessed by the Online Education Committee consisting of senior Cambridge professors. We also offer weekly live webinars with our course academics. These interactive sessions allow for direct contact with our course leads, in this case with Professor Nathan Crilly. We also provide specialist tutor support with a low ratio of learners to tutors. We have a world-class learning management system that provides the best learning experience, and you will also receive, upon successful completion, a University of Cambridge online certificate. We'll get to see an example of this in just a moment. Our learners are from more than 60 countries globally, giving you the opportunity to network with professionals from all over the world. And finally, we have received highly positive learner feedback. So 98% of our learners across 16 courses in the September 2023 cohort rated their course good or excellent. As mentioned earlier, upon completion, learners will earn a certificate of achievement directly from the University of Cambridge Online and signed directly from the Pro Vice Chancellor. You can post this on your social profile or list it on your CV or resume, and you can see an example of that on the screen now. Now, I'd like to introduce today's panel. First of all is myself. My name is Philip Perrin, and I'm an enrollment advisor here at Cambridge Advanced Online. We also have Professor Nathan Crilly, our academic lead for the course Creativity, Problem Solving and Design Thinking, and Emily Tanner-Patterson, learning designer here at Cambridge Advanced Online as well. I'm now going to hand over to Professor Nathan Crilly, our course lead, to introduce himself and the course.
Hello everyone, it's nice to get the chance to speak to you in advance of your potentially taking the course. So as I was just introduced, my name is Nathan Crilly. I'm Professor of Design in the Engineering Department here at the University of Cambridge. And as a university professor, I teach the undergraduate students we have here and also the graduate students, typically in design-related topics. So user-centered design, engineering drawing, but also other aspects of communication and creativity within the department. I've been in Cambridge for about 20 years. I did my PhD here in design, and I sort of take a fairly interdisciplinary approach to the teaching that we do, both in the department, but also here at Cambridge Advanced Online. And for a lot of that teaching work, I was fortunate enough to be awarded the Pilkington Prize for teaching last year. So a lot of the research I do is also interdisciplinary, so we look at different disciplines that undertake creative work. So I tend to focus on designers and professional design practitioners, but also look at inventors and entrepreneurs, these different people who've made it their life's work to generate new solutions to novel problems that they've identified. Also take on, as part of an academic role, editorial positions within leading scientific journals. So I'm often sort of editing or reviewing the latest work that's being done in creativity, design thinking, problem solving, and related areas. So let's look at the course overview, if we talk about this course in particular. So one of the reasons this course was developed was really in recognition that creativity is being identified as an essential skill in business. If we take those disciplines I mentioned earlier, so design, invention, entrepreneurship, those are practices that have always thought creativity was central to their work, but increasingly across a wide range of sectors and industries and across different roles within those sectors and industries, people have recognized that creativity is central to solving problems and developing better solutions. So what the course does is break down creativity into these distinct components. So rather than having one sort of nebulous, vague thing of creativity, we break it down to these different ingredients, and that lets the learners engage with each ingredient separately before they start combining them. And research shows that that's the most effective way to develop creative skills in individuals. What we do then is support learners to work creatively themselves. They might want to do more creative work in their business, for example, but they also might need to support other people in being more creative and developing those skills more broadly. It's not just about skill development, though. We often find that learners need to develop confidence in their creative abilities, and the course gives people the confidence to identify new challenges to work on, and also different ways of working on those challenges when they develop solutions. And the course also sort of trains learners to represent their creative experiences. So that could be in the form of social media posts, it could be in applying for jobs, or it could be in interview panels, or it even could be writing job specifications. Being able to break creativity down into different components helps people express themselves and represent their own creative capacities. So what we'll do now is just run a quick poll that you can all participate in. And what we're going to be looking at is the extent to which you're familiar with the sorts of things that the course deals with. So creativity, problem solving, and taking a design approach to issues. So you can answer this now. Are you not familiar at all with these issues? All the way through to, are you extremely familiar? So we'll just wait a little bit longer to see what votes come in on this. And here are the poll results. So we have something with not many people at the extreme. So we don't have so many people saying they're not familiar at all, or that they're extremely familiar. But with most people grouped somewhere in the middle, that with somewhat familiar, moderately familiar, or very familiar. So that's great. Thanks for participating in that and giving us a bit of background to who we have on the call. So what we can say is that we have learners from all those different sort of familiarity levels on the course. Some people are already trained in creativity but want to take that further and consolidate it. Other people, it's very much an introduction, and the course is structured to accommodate both levels of ability, with different learners taking it further in different ways. And the way that we structure the course in these different modules, and that helps us deliver that form of training. So just like the research I conduct and the teaching I deliver in the department, the course is also quite interdisciplinary, trying to integrate different approaches. So we might sometimes be using methods from design, sometimes from entrepreneurship, and sometimes from something like systems thinking. So in module 1, so that'd be the first week of the course, we really focus on creative cognition, so different ways of thinking creatively and thinking flexibly. So what we do then is we look at different ways of being flexible in our thoughts, not just always thinking about a problem the same way, but moving around different ways of thinking, and lots of creative methods really try to encourage that cognitive flexibility. We also then in module 2 don't spend so much time on these fine-grained cognitive abilities, so different ways of thinking. Instead, we look at the different general approaches the different professions have taken. So design thinking is one, trying to approach problems in the way that a designer might. We also look at systems thinking, so how can you look at not just the individual parts that a problem is, but the whole that it builds up into, and how that sort of behaves over time. So almost taking an ecological approach to problems. Then after modules 1 and 2, which has helped us set up a foundation that we can use throughout the rest of the course, in modules 3, 4, and 5, we worked through a 3-stage creative process. So module 3, we look at problem definition, trying to spend time really understanding what the problem is before we leap into solving it. We use these different ways of exploring the problem and reframing it and approaching it from different perspectives. Then in module 4, we leap into what many people think of as creativity, which is idea generation. And you'll see it comes quite late in the course because there's actually quite a lot more that we have to get involved in than just generating lots of ideas. But in module 4, that's what we do. And we use these different techniques to try and generate not just lots of ideas, but ideas that are quite different to each other, and then elaborating those ideas in useful ways. And then in module 5, we look at solution selection. So we've got lots of ideas, but how do we identify those that are most promising? How do we take those ideas, select them down, and then develop them further? And then in module 6, we put all of that in context. So most people are coming to the course from organizational settings. So we look at creative individuals and how they combine into creative teams. We look at the creative culture of the organization as a whole. And then we also look at creative leaders and what different attributes each of those different groups might have. You might be wondering how you're assessed, so I'll talk about that now. So as we work through those 6 modules, there's 40% of the course is assessed on participation. So we provide guidance through all these different tools we have as how you could go about identifying problems and working on them and developing solutions. And we provide example issues for you to work on individually, but also as a group. And by providing these examples, it means we can pick examples that are very accessible to everyone. But learners get to apply the course learnings module by module to a project assignment that they select that's often most relevant to their work practice. They might have a problem they're working on in the workplace, and they get to progress that problem as they go through the 6 modules of the course. So you might be wondering if this is the right course for you. So just to reassure you, across the history of the course running, we've had a really diverse range of people take the course. So as you can see from the statistics here, we have quite a few people in business operations. We have people in program project management. We have people looking at products and art and design and marketing. But perhaps a different characterization is we've had people from all these different sectors. So people from the military, people from healthcare, people from government, legal departments, etc. So a very broad range of different perspectives and from across these different countries that we saw highlighted earlier on. So those people from those different backgrounds, what they tend to take away from the course is they're more able to apply for or move into these very high demand or in-demand roles, for example, leadership levels. They can have more impact in the industry they work in because the solutions they develop have been better tailored to the actual people who will work with or who need those solutions. It's part of their general skill advancements. They might be developing their skills in creativity alongside skills in communication or management or other aspects of their work. And it's a great networking opportunity because during the course, you're with all these like-minded people from different sectors and different roles, but also afterwards you can stay in touch with not just them, but also people who've taken the course previously through some of the social connections that are made. So now we'll run a quick poll to see where you're coming from in terms of your interest in the course. What would you be seeking to achieve? Is that just general professional development? Might you be interested in shifting your career, and this would be a way to support you in doing that? Are you early on in your career and you're really looking to start it? Or is this part of lifelong learning and you're maybe further on and it's not necessarily geared towards career development at all? So again, we'll give you some time to respond to these questions and give us a sense as to, from the people on this call, why would you be approaching the course and what would you be seeking to gain? Okay, so the results are now in. And what we see is most people interested in this for the purpose of professional development. That's 70% of you. About 40% of you looking at it for lifelong learning, 20% as a career shift, and then a smaller minority, just a few percent, looking to start your career with this kind of course. And in fact, we've had people from all those different backgrounds. We've had relatively sort of young students coming out of their qualifications, but feeling that they haven't experienced enough on creativity and seeking to amplify that. But the majority, sort of mid-career professionals looking to advance their position in the current role or even future roles. Let's look at some of the impact that the course has had on previous learners. So we can see here in those first two statistics, we've got the majority of people applying their newly acquired skills and knowledge in their current role, or even in new roles or new projects within their organization. And that's partly because as you work through the course, you're getting to do this project of your own choosing, and therefore you get to apply things straight away. And it's one of the very positive bits of feedback we get is how do, the benefit of applying things as they go along, and even getting some successes midway through the course in their work. And you can see the vast majority of people feeling not only more confident in their current role, but also confident to apply what they've learned in a new role in their current field. And then right at the bottom there, even people who are prepared to now move into a different field because they've either developed new creative capacities or they've become more confident in the capacities they had, and they can see that they can actually take on work that they might find more aspirational. I'll now hand back over to Phil to talk a bit about the alumni from the course.
Thank you, Nathan. Yeah, that was really helpful. Yeah, just a reminder to everybody as we progress through the webinar today, if you do have any questions, do pop them in the Q&A pane. But now we would like to highlight two past learners who have left some really great feedback that we'd like to share with you. So as you can see in the slide, Mohammed, Senior Associate at PwC, one of our past learners of this course, shared his positive review about how the course taught him a structured approach to tackling challenges, particularly through brainstorming techniques like systems thinking, visual thinking, and design thinking. And he feels more confident in explaining and applying his ideas within his organization, especially in his role on the transformation team. We also have an example of Mariana, who is an independent creative consultant. Mariana highlights how the course enhanced her ability to manage and guide creativity for problem solving, idea generation, and evaluation. She appreciated learning new creative tools, which she believes have significantly enriched her creative toolkit. You will see their reviews now just popped up on the screen if you'd like to have a quick read through. And we will then hand over to Emily, who will talk you through the learning design and experience.
Thanks so much, Phil. I'm really happy to see so many people on the call because I think this course is really just a unique and exceptional one. And I'm so thrilled to get to talk about how we create that in our virtual learning environment. Here at Cambridge Advance Online, we build our courses knowing that we're looking at a professional audience. They're busy. We want to ensure that we're using the latest in learning design methodology to make sure that you have a rigorous and high quality learning experience, and so that you're walking away from the course with actionable skills. So not just foundational knowledge, not just sort of facts that you can take forward, but rather you're getting the chance to learn new skills, practice those skills, get feedback on those skills, so that once you're leaving the course, you feel really confident about taking those skills away and using them in real life. First, the way we build these courses in our virtual learning environment, we don't expect you to sit and listen to long videos. We don't expect you to sit and just flick through page after page of text. Again, it's all about the immediate application of what you're learning. So alongside the bits of text and the bits of video are lots of interactive exercises for you to utilize to check your own understanding. We make heavy use of social learning. We know that this is really important from research, that learners learn as much from one another as they do from the expert in the room. And so we make use of all sorts of social tools. That includes discussion boards. That includes online whiteboarding programs. That includes even a social annotation tool called Hypothesis, which allows us to turn documents into annotated forms that allow you to discuss in real time with fellow learners. We also have an inbuilt messaging system called Canvas Inbox. And we also have a tutor on every course who is there to support all of the learners, to moderate discussion boards, and to help with the live session. The way the course works is that it's majority asynchronous. That means it's self-paced. The module unlocks at the beginning of the week. You have the week to work through the course. All the other learners are also working through that module's worth of material at the same time. So it's not the case that you get on the course and it's complete radio silence. You're the only person in the room for a while until another learner happens to get on the course. Everybody's moving together, but you can fit in that learning wherever in the week works for you. We know that you have a busy schedule, you're a professional, your time is valuable for you. So if you need to do 20 minutes of learning here in between meetings, and then you want to listen to a podcast that's in the course on your evening commute, and then you have a good 2 hours to devote to it on Friday morning, etc., you get to fit in the learning in whatever way works for you. And then finally, along with all of this built content and this wonderful support that exists within the virtual learning environment, the learning management system, which is called Canvas, you also have a weekly live session with your peers, your tutor, and the fabulous Nathan Crilly. He does all of his own live sessions every week. So this is your chance to talk to him, to ask questions, get answers, and have contact with our wonderful Cambridge academic. These live sessions are a highlight for all of our learners. We get great feedback on them. And as a bonus, they're recorded so that if you either can't make the live session that week, or if you just want to watch back over something that you didn't quite understand in the moment, you need to go back to double check something. It's all available for you within the virtual learning environment. So now we're going to give you a flavor of that virtual learning environment. We're going to play you a video to show you the Canvas platform. Now, this video is from a different course, so unfortunately you're not seeing creativity here, but you can see how the virtual learning environment presents things. You can see here that we have custom graphics that have been drawn for the course. We embed audio as well as these graphics, and we have lots of interactive exercises for you to work through to support your learning. So here's a little matching exercise that helps with vocabulary acquisition. We have places where we ask you to do a little thinking to try to figure out an answer yourself, and then you get to check it against our expert feedback. So there are lots of ways in which you're not just taking things in, you're actually getting to check yourself and ensure that you've understood them the correct way, and take that next step and apply the information that you're understanding. Hopefully you can see that this is, again, not pages and pages of text, but it's a really rich, interactive multimedia experience learning on the course. And we regularly get feedback from our learners that, wow, taking this course, the way everything was packaged together really supported my learning in a way that allowed me to ensure that I was taking in everything that I wanted to get from this course. So in addition to all of this fabulous interactivity, Canvas also allows you to set up your own learner profile. So you can add a picture of yourself, you can add your bio, you can add your socials. We know that these courses are partly a networking opportunity, and we're also looking to build that community of practice of interested collaborators and professionals. We have a special LinkedIn group for our alumni, and all of this comes together to allow you to meet with other interested professionals and continue your learning and the support of that network outside the course. So that's a little bit about the course from my perspective. And now, Phil, it's back to you to tell people how they can sign up.
Yeah, thank you so much, Emily, and really useful. It's always helpful to see that video. It gives a little bit more insight into how the course runs and what you'll be able to see and do on the course itself. So now that we have all of this information, what are the next steps? Well, you can book online directly, going to the CAO website and finding the course and the booking link there. We do have a limited number of tutors, so there are always a limited number of places on the course, but still plenty of places for the upcoming course run. You are welcome to enroll now. If you wish to proceed, please click on the link on the chat and you'll be prompted to the enrollment page in our website. Enrollments can be booked during this webinar. They will enjoy 15% off, and you can use the code CPSWeb15, which you'll also see on the screen now for a 15% discount. I'd also love to connect with anyone who does have any further questions or wants to dive deeper into the content of what was covered today. There's a link to book an appointment on the screen. This link will be shared in a follow-up email after the webinar as well. But if you want to take it down, please do so. It only takes a few moments to schedule, and calls are usually under 15 minutes to cover what we need to. You can also contact me via email. My email is philip.perrin@cambridge.org, or please also visit the website where you can find the contact us page to reach out to me or the team. Course enrollments, as mentioned, can be done directly online. Payment can be made by card, or you can also request a quotation. As mentioned, our next course is due to start on the 7th of October, and the deadline to enroll is the 30th of September, which is fast approaching. We will have future dates. We do repeat the course quarterly, with future dates set for February, April, and July of 2025. Now, if you haven't already, please use the Q&A section to send in your questions about the course, and we will start to go through some of them now and answer them for you. So bear with me. Let's have a look. So yeah, a couple of questions here, perhaps looking for just a little bit more detail in terms of the course content, learning outcomes, and assessment. My advice in that sense, if you can reach out to me over email, more than happy to send that. We have some useful PDFs and brochures and a little bit more detail that I can share with you. So do reach out and I'll be able to send that across to you. A question here relating to artificial intelligence. And Nathan, perhaps interesting, I know that this course isn't about artificial intelligence. I suppose when it's coming to problem solving, this question may have come up in the course before, but how much of artificial intelligence, AI, is integrated into the course, or is it covered at all? Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thanks for the question. Very interesting. And of course, in research, I work with colleagues and PhD students who are using artificial intelligence in various ways for the research projects, including projects on creativity. The course isn't built around AI, and it's in some ways fairly neutral or agnostic as to whether you're interacting with a human or interacting with an AI system to generate ideas, if that's the challenge. One of the places we do use it is in analogy generation. So you can use analogies as a useful approach for thinking about the problem as though it's slightly different to the problem that it really is. You can look to a sort of a parallel domain that you feel is analogous to the domain that you're trying to solve the problem in, and we can generate ideas around that. And we, in the course, often contrast how people generate those analogies themselves, individually and in groups, with the sorts of analogies you might get if you were prompting an AI system to generate those analogies for you. And you can then feed those analogies into your human process. So the course emphasizes quite a bit the benefits of diversity in teams, the different perspectives that people bring, and how we can use those to cover more of the problem or solution space that we're exploring, and we can add AI agents into that to get further diversity as required. So the course isn't built around AI, it doesn't emphasize it to a great extent, but I think people taking the course would be much better able to generate the prompts required to get inputs from AI systems if that was their preference.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, thank you, Nathan. Really helpful. And a question that we perhaps touched on, but a question I get a lot in terms of prerequisites and what level of experience somebody would need to take this course. Could you provide a little more detail about that, and if there's anything you would expect people to have before enrolling?
Yeah, good question. So the course doesn't expect any particular prerequisites. So despite the course title, you don't have to be working in the creative industries or be a design professional. And in fact, the course is designed for people who aren't really from those backgrounds, people who need to become more creative in their work, support other people in their creative development, and also perhaps even though their role isn't defined as design, they might recognize that often what they're doing is design. They're designing new strategies or they're designing new policies. So there's no particular prerequisites for the course, and a very wide range, as I said, a very wide range of previous learners have accessed the course, enjoyed it, and got a lot out of it. And often the contrast we have between different people's expertise levels in different areas of the course is one of the benefits. I don't think we've had anyone that's been expert in all of it, because it covers quite a wide range of different perspectives.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you, Nathan. Perhaps one for Emily here that around the course material. So how is the course material structured to balance between theory and practice?
Yeah, good question. So I'd say that's balanced all the way through. So often there might be some theory that sits behind activities we give you, and you undertake those activities, and the theory behind it might be revealed later on. Sometimes we're explaining theory directly. Often we move between theoretical descriptions, for example, different modes of cognitive biases that might affect idea generation or creative work, but then we might have a case study on something. We might have interactive activities to do with almost running an experiment on yourself, like a little psychology experiment. We have people working together on sort of online whiteboard platforms to generate ideas and work as teams, so you might be able to apply it straight away. And then, of course, all the learners are applying it module by module to projects that they have chosen themselves. So I think there's the theory and the application are woven together all the way through the course.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, go
And
ahead.
just to add to that, just to add to that a bit, Phil, as Nathan's just alluded to, there are levels of application. So there might be a small exercise on a page that takes a minute or two to do, and then there might be a slightly longer exercise after 2 or 3 pages that puts together a bit of knowledge that takes a little longer, or it's a discussion board, so it takes a bit of time to do the exercise, post it to the board, compare your answer to other people's, because that's really key here, right? We're trying to change how we think. We need to see how others think. So this is where the social learning gets really important. And then, as Nathan said, at the end, we've taken all the little pieces, we've built them into slightly bigger pieces, and now we're going to do that capstone at the end of the module, which is the module project. And then all the module projects kind of come together to form the course project. So we have these levels of application that are building the skill set and the knowledge, and then putting everything together as the course runs through.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, thank you, Emily, for kind of just giving that a little bit more detail, especially around the design and that element. A question here, which again, perhaps relates a little bit more to the assessment specifically, but generally in terms of the course. Would it be easy to apply what I have learned into my current role? So it's kind of an extension, I guess, a little bit of what we've just discussed in terms of theory and practice, but just to extend that in terms of the project that they get to do, I suppose, to touch on how that can relate back very easily, I suppose, to their job role and scenario.
Yeah, I think that's right. I mean, it's one of the reasons that learners really benefit from the course is they're applying the learning straight away. So it's not that it's 6 weeks of accumulated learning that they eventually get to apply at some point. By the end of the first module or week, then they will have identified some problem or situation in their workplace that they want to explore. And they might explore that before they really define what the problem is, but they'll be working on that all the way through. But in addition to that, we'll be giving a variety of different problems for people to work on, whether those are environmental problems or business problems or social problems. And it's that variety of challenge that the learners are provided with and the varieties of activities they undertake with them that lets the theory and the guidance sort of bed in right from the beginning rather than being deferred to a later point.
Yeah, thank you. No, that's really helpful. A couple of questions here, I guess, that kind of relate to the flexibility and the time that's needed in terms of completing the course. And we kind of touched on, the way that we've designed the course is with the professional in mind. We do recommend somewhere between sort of 8 to 10 hours is probably a realistic in terms of what you need each week. In terms of how that's flexible is that you can commit that time whenever it is convenient to you each week. So whenever you have the time, you'll be able to log into the platform and continue to work through their module for that week and complete the tasks and activities around any other commitments that you have. I suppose in terms of touching the only part of the course which is time sensitive is the live sessions that we mentioned earlier in the presentation. So there is a 1-hour live session each week, which is obviously a great added value to have some live and direct interaction with Professor Nathan. But they are optional in terms of attendance, and they'll also be recorded. So you do have the opportunity to catch up. You're not penalized if you miss those. You'll still be able to watch them, and you have a tutor throughout the course to reach out to, so you can get any of your questions or anything that you need answered as you progress through the course itself. So it is structured between a start and a finish date, and you have a module each week, but how you get to the end of that module each week is very much in your control. Just scrolling through the questions, so bear with me and see if we have covered everything. I can see another question in regards to the content and a little bit more detail. Please do reach out. More than happy to share some more information over email that will kind of be able to be digested a little bit more in your own time. It is a 6-week course, so we perhaps haven't managed to delve into each week as much detail as you might have liked. But question here, so just on the live sessions, when are they scheduled and is it the same time each week? Yes, they are the same time each week. I will need to pull up, unless Nathan can remember for the upcoming October session what time the live sessions are scheduled. Off the top of my head, it might be a Wednesday or Thursday. I'll double check. Can you remember?
I'm pretty sure it's 4 o'clock on Thursdays.
Perfect. There we go. So yeah, they'll be scheduled. You'll have a Zoom link. They'll have a calendar, so you'll be able to see everything up front. But they'll be at the same time each week.
Yeah, it is 4 o'clock on Thursdays for the run that starts in October. And just one more comment on that issue of scheduling. So the course is structured so that individual learners have got flexibility within each week to do the work at a time that suits them. That might vary by time zone and other commitments they have. But also we're trying to move learners across, like from one week to the other, so you get to work together and learn things together before you all move on. So flexibility within the week, but some structure that moves you all on week by week.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Thank you for confirming that one. Another question just popped through. Do you think this course is applicable to fundraising for a charity? So perhaps a specific sector question there.
Yeah, so the course is fairly sort of sector and role neutral, but we've certainly had people in the past from that kind of environment, so working in charity sectors or education, people trying to bring more funds into the organization they work for, whether that's a charity or not. So yeah, I think that's the sort of thing where you might look at taking a systems approach to the issue, mapping out the different stakeholders that are involved, what's the flow of information between those stakeholders, how do you identify the people you want to enroll in your project or get feedback from, how can you prototype and iterate some of the ideas that you've got. So a lot of the tools and techniques we use would apply whether you're developing a piece of legislature or developing a campaign for fundraising. It would be relatively neutral with respect to that. And again, one of the benefits is that learners get to work with people who are applying a very similar approach to a very different class of problem.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, they're really helpful. A question again that's just popped through, and Emily, probably this would be something you can touch on and elaborate, that we don't often cover in terms of the learning design. But a question here, is the course autism friendly? I've recently started an engineering business, part of which I offer mechanical design, engineering, contracting, and I believe this would be a valuable area to improve on. So a little bit of a touch on the accessibility and how that's built into the learning design.
Yeah, Philip, thank you. Yeah, so we design all of our courses to be accessible to any learner who needs to come on. And what that means is we have a range of accessibility standards that we adhere to. So WCAG, I think it's 2.1 at this point that we adhere to. We have a gold accessibility rating from Aspire. And if you're not familiar with accessibility, basically it means ensuring that all the content can be accessed by anyone. Now, as far as autism goes, if you've met one autist, you've met one autist. So if a learner has specific concerns and needs, they should get in touch with Philip, who will be able to direct them. But there are certain things, for example, live sessions, again, not required to attend. They're recorded and put in the platform for you to watch back later. You can contact the tutor using a variety of methods, specifically Canvas Inbox, or for people who struggle with dyslexia and printed material. Everything is screen reader friendly, or the tutor can, in exceptional circumstances, set up a live call if reading and doing text-based entry is difficult. We have some support through the tutors and through our operations team for specific technology needs. And so again, all of this is done as part of the learning design first and foremost, but again, as part of the support that you receive coming on the course. So I want to be really clear that when you come on one of our courses, you're not just thrown into the bucket and expected to make do. You get a supported learning experience. And part of that is accommodating for people who have additional learning needs or what you might say are non-standard technology needs to interact with the virtual learning environment. And we can provide, again, more specific information if any learner wants to contact our enrollment advisors.
Perfect. Yeah, thank you, Emily. Yeah, really helpful, and hope that's been useful in answering that question. I'm aware we have around 5 minutes left and a few more questions still to go through. This one a little longer, but I think important to cover. So considering my background in systemic creative coaching and consulting alongside operating a creativity lab in collaboration with an art gallery, my focus spans personal, professional, and organizational development. I'm particularly interested in advanced creative problem solving, future-oriented design, and integrating predictive analytics and sustainability into innovation processes. Could you clarify if half of the course will cover basics and extended basics in these areas, or will it primarily delve into more advanced frameworks and applications? Sorry to get my mouth around lots of words. Nathan, if you could sort of perhaps dive in on that one.
Yeah, I think that might be quite a tough question to answer, partly because a lot of those words that Philip just dealt with are mean slightly different things in different contexts, like exactly what systemic means, or whether that's, you know, a sort of ecological systems approach or systemic design approach. So they can mean slightly different things in different places. I'd say the course is designed to allow anyone to enter it that might be, for example, mid-career professional, but with no particular qualifications that lean towards the subject matter. And as such, it's introductory and inclusive in that sense. We've had people taking the course with backgrounds in, you know, professional product designers working in consultancies, and they have got something out of the course that they've benefited from, partly because the course you know, spans across these different perspectives and different disciplines. Let me just read some of that question to myself again. Predictive analytics, sustainability. Yeah, again, difficult to answer the question, but I think you'd find that all of the course is accessible, and certain people combine elements of the course in ways that are what makes it advanced for them. So they might have previously, for example, facilitated various brainstorming sessions, but never facilitated brainstorming through analogies on the problem. So different ways of combining different elements of the course can make it advanced in different ways. So I'm not quite sure if that answers your question, but certainly the course is designed to be accessible. So it's not an advanced course that would assume that you've already done preliminary courses and are qualified in some way in the subject matter.
Yeah, perhaps helpful as well. If you'd like to reach out over email, more than happy again to just provide a little bit further detail into the content breakdown for each week, just so you can kind of get a feel for yourself and the assessment, and kind of help you in terms of making your decision around that one. Perhaps the last question to cover, so would the course indicate how to attract people to do things?
Sorry, could you repeat that, please?
Yeah, sorry, quite an open question and quite broad perhaps, but would the course indicate how to attract people to do things? So I guess we're creating ideas, but do we encourage action through kind of the course content and the knowledge gained?
Oh, I see. So certainly the course focuses not just on having ideas, but also finding ways to develop them and implement them and get feedback from the real world, identifying the different stakeholders that you might need to include in your project, but also those you need to influence. And then how would you pitch your idea to those influential stakeholders that you need to get involved to take it further? So towards the end of the course and the end of their projects, the learners haven't just sort of thought about something and come up with an idea. They've also framed that as something they could communicate to someone else that might need to invest in that idea or commit to it in some way. So one of the things we try to move away from is just thinking and talking about things, and instead actually building things, putting them into the world and getting some feedback from the world through prototyping or building some sort of external manifestation of the idea.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, thank you. We are running out of time, so I guess it's an opportunity just to thank you all again for joining today's session. I've taken on the feedback and the questions there in terms of additional content, and apologies if we haven't had time to go a little bit deeper today and answer all the questions. We will endeavour to get back to you on any questions or topics that we haven't been able to address. In the follow-up email, you'll be able to complete a survey, and that will also give you the opportunity to send any further questions if you haven't already. Please do take a couple of moments to provide us with some feedback. Look out for a follow-up email later this week in which we'll share the recording of the webinar and some further useful links that have been mentioned today. Yeah, thank you very much to everyone. Thank you, Nathan. Thank you, Emily, and have a wonderful rest of the day, everyone. Thank you.